He was here, though, right? No, he wasn't here.
Oh, don't forget, 26th.
I call this meeting to order at 5:02 p.m. Cheryl, this is a special meeting of the Board of Trustees on March 24, 2026. May I have a roll call, please?
Trustee Ash.
Here.
Trustee Cahar. Chair Hoskins Sutton.
Here.
Vice Chair Kump.
Here.
Trustee Sanchez.
Here.
Trustee Scruggs on through.
Here. Thank you. The purpose of this meeting is to interview the candidates who sent a letter of interest and resume to fill the unexpired term of the trustee vacancy after the resignation of Mr. Mark S. Gilstrap. By public notice of the vacancy, it was requested that individuals interested in interviewing were to submit their letter of interest and resume to KCKCC President's Office by 5 p.m. on Wednesday, March 11th. The interviews will start at, interview number 1 will be at 5:15. And going through that process, we had 3 candidates that we will interview. Our first interview will be at 5:15 with Ms. Jamie Johnson, approximately 6:15 for Mr. Sam Boyles, and approximately 7:15 for Mr. Dion Whitten. We will return to you around 5:15 for starting our interviews. Thank you. Good evening. If you are joining us, we're back with you live now to start our interviews for the vacancy on the Board of Trustees at Kansas City, Kansas Community College. We have 3 candidates this evening. They have a 50-minute period to answer questions from the board, and if there is enough time, they can ask us a question. There's 9 questions, and they have 50 minutes. They certainly don't have to take 50 minutes, but we will allow them 50 minutes. Our first candidate is Ms. Jamie Johnson. Welcome, Ms. Johnson. The interview will start now. Trustee Ash.
Hi, Ms. Johnson. Good evening. Thank you for being here. I'm going to get started, I guess. Why don't you just start by telling us what you know about KCKCC?
Okay. I know that KCKCC is one of the most well-kept secrets, diamonds in the rough in our community. And I say that because the community, in my opinion, does not take full advantage of all of the resources and services that is provided here at KCKCC. I know that KCKCC has approximately 8,000 students. They employ about 450 faculty and staff. I know that there's a budget about they make an impact of about $764 million in economic impact in our community, 70 degrees, 70 plus degrees. I know that we have award-winning programs here at the college, several. I could start naming them if I need to, but I'm very proud of what happens here at KCKCC because of the expert faculty that we have here, the people that are passionate about working here and making an impact. I know that I mentioned earlier that there are approximately 8,000 students. I think by ethnicity, 38% are Caucasian students, about 28% are African American. That's not right. About 28% are Hispanic, about 19% are African American, the 5% are mixed nationalities. I know that the KCKCC is ran by or overseen by the Board of Trustees. There is a president, and the president has a staff that supports him in the daily activities here at KCKCC. Should I keep going?
It's your time.
It's my time. Based on the information that I was given and the numbers that I received from 2023 to 2024, the school awarded about 960 certificates and degrees that particular year. I don't know if the numbers have been published for this past academic year or not, but it's a great school.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Ms. Johnson. Next question I would have is, can you just tell us why you would like to be on the Board of Trustees?
Yeah, thank you for that question. I came into higher education a little over 25 years ago, and I knew that at some point in my career I would want to give back to the community in an area that I was passionate about, in an area that I loved, and higher education is something that I love. And so I wanted to serve on the Board of Trustees since that time. This is not something, as you can tell from my resume and even from my letter of interest, that this is not something that someone called me and asked me to do. This is not something that I decided after I did not make it on another run that I decided to do. But since 2019, I have consistently and persistently found myself writing that, going into the office, signing up to run again for the KCKCC Board of Trustees. You all know that this is my second time even being before the board in an appointment process. So clearly, I am passionate about being on this board. I love students, faculty, and staff. I was raised in a family of educators, and so education has been a part of my life since I was born. I actually moved here in 1968 when I was just 16 months old, because my mother and my aunt were recruited here to help integrate the USD 500 school district. So I've been here ever since. And I love this community, and I want to do my part to help the community. And I believe that I have a unique background and experience because of my education, because of the particular jobs that I've had in higher education. I've worked at a community college. I've worked at a private 4-year institution. I've worked at a 4-year public institution, and I'm currently in my 19th year at the flagship public university of the state of Kansas. So I'm not just someone that's looking for a place to land. This is my life.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Ms. Johnson, what do you believe is the role of Kansas City, Kansas Community College within KCK and Wyandotte County?
I think first and foremost, our role is to educate our community and to be a leader in the economics of our community. I think that we have a unique experience with the three districts in this area. It's Turner, Piper, and USD 500. That's 3, right? Bonner. There's 4. So we have 4 in this district. So we have a unique opportunity to educate our students, not just the 18-year-olds, but we have a unique opportunity to, because I believe the 18 to 24-year-olds would be our highest number of enrollment, but we have an opportunity to connect with those students who may have dropped out or may have slipped through the cracks before they graduated from high school. We have an opportunity to connect with individuals who are looking for their in-between jobs, in-between careers, and we have an opportunity to provide education for them. We can connect with the military and the business owners and industry leaders in our community and provide education, provide certificates, provide professional development for our community. And I think that's what we are here to do. And by doing so, we can ensure sustainability of the workforce in our community.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
How can the college support and be more of an asset to the community?
How can the college be more supportive?
How can the college support and be more of an asset to the community?
More than the college already is doing. So I think one way we can do that is to improve our partnerships with business and industry. As we move forward, we know that KBOR, the Kansas Board of Regents, as well as even our governor, many times have cut the higher education budget. And so we need to find partnerships, ways that we can get money from other entities, other investors, other stakeholders, who, so to speak, who can help us fund our day-to-day activities of educating our community. And so that's the first thing I would suggest is improving our business partnerships. The second thing I would consider would be improving the communication that the employees here at KCKCC have with the counselors at our high school level. I understand from many that I have spoken with is that, yes, there's a partnership, yes, there's an agreement, but there's not always a connection between the two entities. And so any way that we can improve the connection, the communication, and the partnership at that level, I think that would be helpful as well. And then I'll say finally, a way that we can provide opportunities for just the general population of Wyandotte County to connect with the program services and the resources that we provide, because so many of the people in our community are not aware of all the awesome resources that we have here at KCKCC and ways that their lives can be enriched just by connecting with the college. And so if those 3 things could happen, I think those are ways that we could improve and be more of an asset to our community.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Great, welcome.
Thank you.
So a question I have here is what assets and or skills do you bring to the board?
Okay. I think first and foremost, one of the assets that I have is that I am a community leader. Have been involved in our community for a number of years. The church that I am a part of, I'm a youth leader, and that church denomination has over 60 churches throughout the state of Kansas and Missouri. And of those churches, 85% of them are in the greater Kansas City area. So I have a connection to those individuals. I'm a former Girl Scout troop leader, and so I still have a connection with the Girl Scouts. And you know, they have STEM programs and things, business programs, things that would fit great, in my opinion, with the programs that we offer here at KCKCC to prepare them for higher education. I also worked in the banking industry for 7 years, where I supported commercial lending officers, 7 of them. And our client base were customers with $10 million or more in assets. So I worked with them every day. The CEOs, the CFOs, the presidents of companies every day, moving money, working with their loan documents, reading spreadsheets, reading financial statements, you know, reading those things on a regular basis. So I bring that skill. Now, I can't tell you that I'm a financier, you know, but what I can tell you is when I see the financial statement, I know how to read it, and I know whether it's in the plus, in the black, or whether it's in the red. So I can tell you those things. Another thing, I am a people person. I know how to pull together and work with a team. There is no I in team. I recognize that everyone is not going to agree on every point all of the time, but I'm all about the bottom line and making sure that whatever goals and objectives that we have set for ourselves, that we do our best to achieve them in a way that's conducive to all that's involved. Another skill set I think I bring is that because I have been in higher education for so long, I've served on many search committees, not just in my particular school, but I've been asked to serve in many different areas at my university. So I have been found to be someone who is trustworthy, someone who is open and honest, someone who is a straight shooter, someone who is resourceful. Since I was a child, 17, I'll say 17, but people have always come to me because I am a resource person. And because I'm a resource person, I can connect people and connect the dots. Something else I think I bring to the table is I have good communication skills. I can write. I don't really like to write, but I can write. So I can bring that skill to the board. Something else that I knew I wanted to share about my skill set. I'm not afraid of technology. I use all types of technology, social media, as well as university, college level type technology I can use. I type. You can tell that I talk, and I like to talk. I'm a big picture thinker. I can drill it down to the most important, but I'm also a strategic planner. I like to look down the road. I like to think about the goals and the objectives that we're trying to accomplish and what it would take for us to get there. So I am a strategic planner, and I can be a strategic thinker. Thank you.
Yep, thank you.
Okay. This is a long question, so I'd be happy to read it again. If you want me to, just let me know, okay? Board of Trustee members are expected to serve on 2 committees, attend monthly board meetings, other college meetings, community meetings,
Meetings.
ceremonies, and travel out of state occasionally for professional development. How would you fit these activities into your schedule?
Well, I use a calendar, I use an electronic calendar. I use my phone. I have a calendar that hangs on my wall. And I have 4 calendars that I juggle every day. And I would fit all of them into my calendar. And one of the first things that I do, and I'm hopeful that if there is a calendar for the year, as soon as I get it, I plug everything in so that I would know what I would be available to do, and that I would have it in part of my personal, my everyday life, as well as my my job calendar. And so I can tell you that I am very supported by my employer. They know that I have applied for this, and they have been supportive of me since 2019, my first time out, and they're still supportive, so it wouldn't be a problem.
They allow you flex time and stuff like that?
I do have flex time. Mhm. That's the benefit of being an exempt employee in somewhere almost 20 years.
Yes. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. So KCKCC operates under a system of shared governance where we have the board, the administration, faculty, staff, and students. Can you just tell me and tell the board, what does that mean to you?
I think in a good world, everybody works together harmoniously and with synergy. I know that the board is charged with overseeing the school, making sure that the school is fiscally responsible, making sure that the school is up to date with the programs and certificates and degrees that we offer here at the university, making sure that the president of the university, of the college, making sure that the president and his administration is doing everything within their power to move the vision forward and the mission forward. I think that when you have a good president and good administration, then they communicate well with the faculty, staff, and students, and they provide an environment that is inclusive, that is respectful. They respect the ideas of those individuals that are part of the process. And when all 3 of us are doing our jobs correctly and being mindful of all of the other entities that are involved, I think you have a pretty great team.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. What trade, skills, and/or education would you like to see offered here at the community college?
I don't know, and I haven't looked at the curriculum this time around, so I don't know if we're doing anything in the way of AI. So if we are not, that is something that I think we need to get on because it's very big now, and in many areas, in industry as well as in education, as well as in education, people are using AI on a regular basis now, and we would want to be able to not only ensure that our faculty and staff are up on AI, but that our students are aware of it, know how to use it, not to abuse it, and prepare ourselves for the future, even as it relates to the job in the workforce. Many of the workforces are now turning to AI, and so we need to know how that's going to impact the jobs that we are preparing our students for. So if they are turning to AI, then our students need to be able to use it and understand it.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hi. What do you think the college can do better to meet the needs of our students?
Well, you know, students always need money.
Money?
They always need money, and I know the foundation does a good job of raising money from year to year. And I also know that a lot of that money goes unused from year to year. So I think if there's a way from the administrative side as well as from our faculty side to ensure that the students that are eligible for the monies that are available, make sure that they are connected and not just have a pot of money out there and just think people are going to apply for it without some type of incentive or encouragement, but have something in the system where our students who we have identified are eligible for particular scholarships and grants or whatever it may be, or awards, make sure that we send those students that information or invite them to a meeting or invite them to a program where they, while they are there, can apply for whatever monies are available to them and not just wait for them to go online and hunt and peck looking for stuff. The second thing I think we can do is make sure that we have wraparound services. And I know that we do, but we can always improve the wraparound services for students, particularly for those students who are housing insecure, who are food insecure. Our military students may need some assistance, additional assistance, first generation students, always making sure that we have those programs, services, and resources available for those students. And then just ensure that you have opportunities for leadership development. Because our students, when they leave here, some are going to go on to four-year colleges, some are going to go straight into the workforce, some are going to decide to get married and start families if they haven't already done that. But wherever they land in life, we want to make sure that they have the tools necessary for them to be successful and so that they can become productive citizens in Wyandotte County.
Could you speak a little bit more about what you mean about wraparound services?
Mm-hmm. So a lot of times when students are enrolled in a school, we find that they need additional help. They need additional services. So whether it be services through the Writing Center, services through the Health Center, services through English as a second language, services through recreation. They may need financial aid. Again, they may need food because they're food insecure. They may need, we may not be able to actually place homeless students in a home, but we can certainly connect them to the resources that are available to them so that they can find housing and no longer be housing insecure. I do think one area we could improve on is transportation, making sure that students that don't have automobiles have a way to get here from wherever they live in Wyandotte County. And that may mean improving our partnership with the transportation services, or transportation services, transportation department, whatever they call themselves. That may mean improving our connection with them, or so that our students, wherever they are in Wyandotte County, can get here or get down to our new location on 7th Street or 10th Street.
Thank you for expanding on that.
You're welcome.
Great. So, this question we have here. Do you have any questions or comments for the board?
Yeah. Well, one, I just want to say thank you for having me on this afternoon. The biggest question I have for you is, what are you looking for in your next board member? Qualities, skill sets? Oh, are you going to answer that?
Oh, sure, I can answer. Well, I think, well, I mean, maybe speaking for myself, I think it's really key. It's very important that the board be able to work well together as a unit. And so I think that is a key component, because when everybody works well together and communicates well together, and even better if everybody likes each other too, then you can work as a unit, and that goes a long way, because when faculty sees that, when the staff sees that, when the students see that, it's very reassuring to know that we're all working together, and that also includes working with those other entities as well. So,
Thank you.
Yeah, I'll add on to that too. I think a big thing for me is someone who is ready and willing to advocate for every different area of that shared governance that I mentioned earlier. I think as you have seen recently, the board has had to do a lot of work in advocating for different areas of our shared governance, and that leads to sometimes some difficult decisions. So someone who's ready and willing to dive in and be prepared for some of the changes ahead. I think that, to me, is someone that I'm looking for.
Thank you.
I'm looking for someone that is committed to the community. That means Wyandotte County and Leavenworth County, and who is interested in empowering, enriching the community and the students so that they have skills, not just skills where they are looking for somebody to give them something, but where they have skills that empower them to give to others and be of service and just thrive. Yeah.
Thank you.
I would just say it's quite obvious to me that your passion and your commitment, not only to coming on this board, but for higher ed, is compelling. And I don't think you'll make very many mistakes as long as you keep operating, from that passion and that commitment, because you have experience, no question about it. And so best wishes to you in this process.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Well, I have so much to say, and it's just like, what do I actually say? But I think someone who's, it sounds like it's a cliche, hit the ground running, someone who will be an independent thinker. And when I say that, I mean, yes, we have to come to an agreement on things, but to give it thought. Wait a minute, there's a quote, I can't think of it just right, but something to the effect that we can think together. We can disagree, but let's think together to come up with the best solution for the college. So, and at the end of the day, that we still can get along. That disagreeing doesn't mean that you have to fall out. So, and I don't want to say team player because that's such a cliche, but someone who is here for the students. And that includes faculty and staff, but our main goal is the students. But if we take care of our faculty and staff, then we can make sure we take care of our students. So it's all, everyone working together. So we want someone, team player, as I say again, is a cliche, but someone who will do their homework and be informed and ready to serve.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
No, that was my biggest question, and I appreciate your time this afternoon. Thank you for having me again,
Okay.
and hopefully I'll
We
see you.
certainly appreciate your coming and coming and coming and coming.
Yes, we know. Yeah.
And the best of luck to you.
Thank you.
And I'll say this to you and for anyone who may be watching online, we don't vote or make a decision tonight. We will complete our interviews tonight, and then at our, I think it's April 21st, our April meeting, it will be at the Tech Center, is when the board will officially vote, go through our voting to select the next candidate, and then the candidate will be seated with us at our May meeting.
Oh, okay.
Okay?
All right.
All right. Thank you.
again. Appreciate
Yeah,
it.
thank you. as far as comments, I think everything that everybody said, Gregory said, he said it with across the board. 100%.
Good evening. Thank you for joining us again for our interviews for our vacancy on the Board of Trustees. We are getting ready to interview our second candidate for this evening, Mr. Sam Voiles. Welcome.
Oh, thank you.
We have 9 questions and a 10th question if the time allows. And we have set aside 50 minutes for this interview.
Okay.
Right?
All right, I will get us started here, and just to make sure I'm saying it right, it is Mr. Voiles?
Correct.
All right, well, Mr. Voiles, the first question that we want to know is, just from your perspective and your knowledge, what do you know about KCKCC?
Well, I've been a resident of Kansas City, Kansas now for about 9 years. I've not been involved with the community college at all. My son is already long past that age for college. But myself, I'm a product of a community college. I went to Johnson County Community College for a bit, and then the Metropolitan Community Colleges out in Lee Summit, Longview. So I suppose specifically Kansas City, Kansas Community College, I don't know a whole lot about it, other than just what I read in the news or read online or from neighbors we talk. We have a great school. But in general, community colleges are very important, and so there's a passion. I'm, again, a product of the community college. So.
Okay.
Thank you.
Why do you want to be on the Board of Trustees?
Well, again, I'll go back to as I'm a product of community college. Myself went back to school at a later age, 27 years old, and I started at community college. Just decided it's time to change my life, and it did. It changed my life. First class at community college, it made the world a difference, and I connected with the community college, and it was. I guess it just made a difference in me, and it helped me succeed, and it got me the start, and I moved on to a very successful career in technology. So I currently sit on the board of a local financial institution in Lee Summit, Missouri, a credit union. I've been on the board for a little over 10 years now. Served 4 years as chairman. I've got a lot of experience in a financially regulated industry, if you will. Deal with fiduciary responsibilities, managing the overall board, if you will, helping create a collaborative environment. I feel like I could bring a lot to the board, I guess is probably where I'd like to be here, like to be a part of the board. Not a good answer there, maybe not, I don't know. But I'm passionate about, again, the college, and I'm passionate about volunteering my time to help out when I can, where I can.
Thank you.
What do you believe is the role of Kansas City, Kansas Community College within Kansas City, Kansas, and Wyandotte County?
I strongly believe that we have we need to prepare our youth and our students for the workforce in the community. We need to be able to provide the tools and the education needed to fit the environment that we're in currently right now and what's going on in our workforce, as well as we need to be able to adapt to new things that are happening. We'll give artificial intelligence as an example. That's become a huge part of our world in almost every aspect of our lives. And so, yeah, I guess that gives you, there you go.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so how can the college support and be more of an asset in your view to the community?
Well, I think I would have to say, we can always get better at community, preparing our students for the workforce. I'm hesitant to offer any suggestions before I'm aware of the full, before I'm aware of what's going on, or at least what we have to offer. I certainly wouldn't want to make any suggestions there, but I think provide for our students, for our community, for, to prepare our students for the workforce. I think that's definitely what we can do. Continue to improve in that.
Okay, Mr. Voiles, what assets and/or other skills will you bring to the board?
I would lean into my my background. Obviously, start down as a student of community college. I believe in it. Like I mentioned, I guess I'm hammering that maybe a little too hard. But my experience on the board of the credit union in Missouri Central, I've a strong tenure there. Was asked to be on the become the chairman. Served chairman as 4 years. Provided I kind of rebuilt the whole board, if you will, from the time I started to get some new folks in there. We were heavily weighted in one industry as far as the board goes, but I was able to help usher in. I'm hesitant to say usher in and replace the board because I don't want to sound like that, but it's important to have a variety of experiences on the board, people from all different functions or areas of life and industries. And so had great experience with creating a collaborative environment. And I think we'll leave it at that. And yeah, that's very good there.
Thank you.
So, Mr. Voiles, the Board of Trustees members are expected to serve on 2 committees, attend monthly board meetings, attend other college meetings, community meetings, ceremonies, and even potentially travel out of state for professional development. How would these activities fit into your schedule, and how would you manage those?
So I guess to start off with, I would say that I completely understand and value the time commitment that is involved in this role. I manage my calendar proactively. I have a saying, I kind of laugh about it, chuckle about it, but if it's not on my calendar, it doesn't happen. And those of you who know who have multiple things that you juggle, you understand that. Again, having served on a board, multiple committees within that board, and my profession, I travel as well for work. Because I proactively manage my schedule, I put it on there, and then I'm able to make the commitments that I have.
Thank you.
Oh, absolutely.
KCKCC operates under a system of shared governance that includes the board, administration, faculty, staff, and students. What does this mean to you?
Well, in a nutshell, shared governance to me is collaborative. We have to listen and hear all the interested parties and take all that information into consideration. So we have to collaborate with each other, have dialogue, and to hit our goals and to be successful.
All right, thank you.
What trade skills and/or education would you like to see offered at the college?
Well, again, without looking behind the scenes and seeing all the different programs that are offered now, before making any kind of recommendations, I'd certainly like to get involved, get more versed in that. But we can always be better at improving our workforce, getting our students ready for the workforce, collaborating with our businesses in the area, in the community, understanding what their needs are, and then probably most importantly, just the ability and to adapt to changes and what's coming. We'll go back to artificial intelligence. So when there's change in the industry or change in the workforce needs, we need to be able to adapt quickly and address those.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So what would you think KCKCC would be able to do better to meet the needs of our students?
We could always get better at with our programs, with preparing our students. We have to continually evolve. I think the old saying, if you don't learn something today, you've wasted the day. And I would take that to, we can continue to evolve as a university, or as a college, a community college, to adapt to the needs of the community, of the workforce, of the next technology wave, whatever that may be. I feel like I'm giving you the same answer, and I apologize for that, but I think short and sweet, that, I mean, I believe that strongly. That's, yeah, believe, yeah.
Okay.
If I could add one more thing, you know,
Sure.
we have to listen to all the interested parties to get better, and that's important. I think whether it's the administration, the students, the community, the residents, we have to ensure that we have an open mind and we listen to what the needs are, and to be able to make those changes and recommendations.
Do you mind expanding on that a little bit more about some of those needs and that you would like, you kind of adding on to that a little bit, some of those needs that you'd like to see us listen on?
Well, just again, the growing workforce, or the employers in our community, the businesses in our community, we need to. I think we should listen to what their needs are for as far as employment, to help us prepare our students for their workforce. You know, too often, if I could go off on a tangent, being in the corporate world and being in training, and part of my stint in corporate world was in training, and we would train by the book, but sometimes the book is outdated to what real life is. And so if we're still doing that, even in this environment, we're training old technology, we're not really hearing what's going on in the workforce. So
Thank you.
So do you have anything specifically that you think KCKCC can do better to meet the needs of our students?
I really don't have anything off the top of my head that I would want to point out without knowing the full ins and outs of what's going on within the school. I mean, I will say this as a resident of Kansas City, Kansas, that there's been a lot of changes just within recently, three new board members in the last year or year and a half or so, or 2 years. With what's gone on, the president's now moved on, and so I would say as a resident, it makes me wonder, what's going on, or what can we do to help out, right? How can we support the college better and make it more successful?
Okay, thank you.
I just will add, 3 new board members including myself, was part of the election cycle. We are elected on odd years, 2025, 2027. So 2023, 4 were elected. And it's staggered. So last year, 2025, 3 was up for re-election because we have a full 7-member board. And so that's why the change in the board, but then we had Mr. Gilstrap, for personal reasons, resigned. But
Okay.
it wasn't just people just all leaving, it was an election cycle.
Gotcha.
Okay, yeah.
Fair enough, and I certainly didn't mean to disparage anything, but just as, again, an outsider looking in as a resident, you wonder, well, what's going on? Let's look into it. I mean, curious, right? So that would be all I would say, and I maybe that sounded negative, and I apologize.
No, that's fine. It's, we're
Giving you the real word. That's what a real resident would think, right? I mean,
yes.
it's a conversation my wife and I would have across the dinner table, like, hey, this is what just happened at the call,
Yes, and that's why we provide the feedback, so especially even tonight, if anyone is listening, that we're not appointed, we are elected, and so the election cycle caused that. As for example, for 4 of the board members, they will be, which if whoever is selected tonight will be up for re-election next year. So again, it will look like, oh boy, there's a big turnover when it's just part of the election cycle.
Sure.
It's the odd years. Okay.
Gotcha. That makes sense. Makes complete sense now.
Well, we also just did this process 2 years ago.
2 years ago, yes.
So actually, Trustee Sanchez is serving as for the 2-year unexpired term. So that it does kind of seem that way. So I completely understand that. My next question too, and this kind of goes off of some of your comments before then, really is, what questions or comments do you have for the board?
So, how inappropriate would it be for me to pull out and read a question? I typed this up myself.
Go for it.
And I
Go
was going
for
to
it.
bring a piece of
Please.
paper, and I just thought, there are a couple, I have 2 questions, if that's fair.
No,
So-
go for it. Hey, we have technology. Feel free to use it.
Look, I got to embrace it, right? So, I guess the first question I would ask the board collectively is what do you see as the most important oversight priorities over the next few years? I mean, I reviewed the strategic plan, looked at that, and just from your perspective, what's the most important priorities for the board?
I can start. I think from my perspective, the most important priority is, ultimately, the most important priority is the student, but from just a strategic standpoint, it's going to be the success of the downtown campus. I believe as that begins to open this summer, and as we begin to have students in there, I believe that is a great opportunity for success, and something that there's been a lot of investment from people who have donated and are excited for the successes of that location, and coming in myself after the last election, to me, that is something that I want to continue to support to be successful. So for me, I'm hoping that we can push to continue for the downtown campus to be successful because of all the work that's been put into it. And I do believe there is an opportunity to fill a need in the community.
Sure,
Yes.
definitely.
I think the number one responsibility of this board, certainly facing us right now, is to locate and hire the best individual to be the president of the college that we can find, and then support that individual. And then I would concur that we're right on the precipice of opening this new building, and we need to be sure we're applying enough energy and thinking, to be sure that it opens smoothly and operates efficiently in this sort of new era. Those 2 things ultimately is how this board begins to support student success at the
Gotcha.
community college.
Gotcha.
So that's my take on it.
If I could just comment directly on that, when I recall back, this would have been maybe 7 years ago. My first year as chairman of the board at the credit union, I had a CEO retire. She'd been with the credit union for 33 years. Wonderful lady, pillar in the community, a small community, Lee Summit, Missouri. And I was tasked with, as the chair, I had a piece of paper that had, this is what our succession plan is, and which was not very, again, she'd been there 33 years, so who really plans for that? You don't think about that. So I was involved in that, and that's probably my biggest success there was being able to, going through the steps to find the CEO that I ultimately hired for that role, and who is now, almost tripled the size of the credit union. We just merged with another one, bought it, again, very successful. So I just wanted to say, I've been through that. went through the process of RFPs for search firms, and we ultimately hired a search firm that specialized in our industry, and were able to recruit nationwide to bring folks. Again, it's a long process, so I don't envy what you guys are going through, but I know what you're going to go through. It's going to be a lot of fun. and I remember the sheer number of hours myself as chairman, and then that I had to bring my board in for special meetings, executive sessions, interviews, et cetera. There's a lot ahead, so you're gonna have fun. So just wanted to comment that. So.
Well, thank you for sharing that, so you do understand. I concur with the things that they've said. Also, when we look at everything that's on our plate, we also have to look at sustainability when it comes to downtown, when it comes to this campus, which has been here since the 1960s. This is our main campus, the very first campus. So there's a lot on our plate as far as when it comes to the strategic plan of making sure that it's balanced, that we take care of our employees and our students right now, but we also look forward to the future, and it's sustainability. That's the number one thing. And you're right, the president, all of that, but can we sustain what we are already doing and be successful?
Absolutely, and there are going to be times that you may be faced with tough decisions, and that's tough, right? So you have to be able to look at all sides of that. With our credit union, when we merged with, and we took over another credit union, and we had to close a branch. And I don't know if you guys are familiar with credit unions, and we're member-owned. So it's not, we don't just make all this, we have to consider every member, the locations, where they're coming from, how close they are, and before we make a decision just to close a branch. So there's a lot of things to look at, and you have to look at all sides before you can make a final decision.
Thank you.
I understand.
I mean, you're not obligated to make a comment, but if you want to, because he said he had another question, but we still have plenty of time, so.
Yep.
Yeah, we have plenty of time.
I believe brevity is the soul of wit, by the way. So that's why I'm short answers. I don't mean to drag anything. So that's why we have a lot of time. So my last question was really just how does the board balance maintaining the financial stability with investing in new programs and workforce initiatives? Which I think we probably have touched on. Just it's a balance, right? But
it's a balance.
What's your
yes.
approach on that in general?
You know, I think an interesting thing that Trustee Sanchez has actually said this a few times, and I think it's worth reiterating, particularly here when we look at how do we appropriately balance that, and it's being able to feel comfortable as a board questioning or asking each other questions about specific areas and being comfortable with the uncomfortable conversations.
Yes.
It's you know, what I've really loved so far being on the board is that I think every single person here brings a unique experience, but because of that, you know, no one person has the same line of thinking, which creates a lot of opportunity for us to really think outside the box. But ultimately, even with all of that, you know, as Trustee Sanchez has said before, and I give him credit, we are very cohesive in the way that we've created those decisions. So we have used the different thinking from all of our, you know, from everyone to create that balanced approach, and that ultimately comes to what can be the most, you know, the most just, the most efficient, however that may, you know, whatever your word may be, but the most appropriate way to move forward. And I believe that that's, at least that's the way that I will continue to want to address those, particularly as things get challenging when we get towards budget time.
That is so important to be able to get along and be collaborative and be able to agree to disagree or have open dialogue for a board.
Yes.
If you've got you could have a cancer in a board if there's someone that is just not collaborative, and they try to. And just coming from experience, I've had to deal with that before. So it's hard sometimes. You have to help someone decide that this is probably not the right position for them if they're not collaborative, or if they're not part of the group and they're not willing to listen and be collaborative. So
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, unfortunately, the way most taxing bodies operate is, well, we have a problem, so let's just tax people more and throw some money at it. And it could work. It usually doesn't. But the approach here is so radically different. There is strategic planning. There is a lot of thought, a lot of research, a lot of collaboration that goes into what programs are going to be offered here and why. So things aren't just being thrown at the wall to see what sticks. It's not like, I know, let's have a $420 million bond issue. That's going to solve our problem. That doesn't work. So it's a balance between having that strategic goal, managing the finances and the funds to be able to do that, and then, as you alluded to, Chairwoman, it has to be sustainable. And we were talking, Trustee Kump and I were talking about this earlier, and I think we would all agree that the ideal situation would be to grow the college, to increase enrollment and in the programs, increase the number and the scope of the collaborations with the businesses in the community. At the same time, with the goal that there's a good chance doing that correctly, we can begin to lighten the burden on the local taxpayers. So that would be the ultimate thing. And but I did have a question for you, because you did talk a lot about your experience with the credit union, but I also see that there's a lot of things that are centered around strategic planning, strategic accounts, generating revenues, operational efficiencies. I see a lot of that, and I don't know that you really spoke too much about that. Could you talk a little bit about that area of your experience?
How can I pull all that together? So strategic planning, let's talk in general. It's very important. You have to have a strategic plan. So we have I guess let me, real quickly, you do just a 3, 5 year, or 10-year strategic plan historically for the college, 3 years?
Mhm.
And then updated annually, I'm assuming, at that point?
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's important always to have that planning, and then to check in to see where we are with that, and adjust accordingly, pivot, et cetera. I think maybe you might be alluding to a little bit of my enterprise experience, having worked with large corporations, Fortune 100 corporations, and then public and private universities and schools, et cetera, in the technology world. So I do that. And so I've done that, rather. I've been with Sprint for since January 2000, and now T-Mobile so it's going on 26 years. So I've had an opportunity to work with major or large corporations, large businesses all across the community and the metropolitan area, and even multiple state regions. So we do strategic planning, I guess, and I'll even say this myself personally, I do a strategic plan for my household, so it's important to me. I think I'm hammering strategic planning, right? So but you got to have a plan. I'm not sure if I'm hitting where you were trying to get to, but I've certainly I want to. So
no, just in your own words, in terms of what all that entails, and because I'm thinking about how that would be applicable in terms of this position.
Absolutely. So I would ask at this point. So is the board involved in creating the strategic plan? Or is the board just involved in approving it and kind of guiding it? And so it can go both ways depending on the institution or the corporation. And so
Approving it.
just approving it. So
Right,
the president comes and says, here's the strategic plan, and then you approve it and maybe help ask questions and help guide it to.
Yes, and
to our goals.
we see it along the way, sometimes when it's in this development, wouldn't you say? But as far as just strategic points for the board to enter, we usually have not done that. But I think some members of this board have said that we probably should have a little more input on it.
Sure.
But that's where we are now.
The
Yes.
challenge there is governance, oversight, or getting down to the weeds, right? You don't want,
Yeah.
there's a balance there. So
Yes.
and that goes back to having that relationship with the president or the CEO, to make sure you have that open dialogue and that relationship with them so that you could have those kind of conversations. And also, and I'm guessing maybe you're the direct point with the president and not the rest of the board?
Well, that is the way it has worked, but we are rethinking all of that. With me, so far as chair, I've taken the direction that we all need to have a good relationship with the president, acting president. And so when you just have that one point of contact sometime, of course, we don't want the trustees bombarding the president. But yes,
Exactly.
you build those relationships when you're able to walk up and have that conversation versus all the conversations having to go through me. I think that stifles relationships. So, yes.
Absolutely. So, and I'm going to defer back to an experience with the credit union if I can share. So, initially we had a situation where we had a CEO that was had 7 different people reaching out, making demands or asking questions, or which that the CEO or the president felt like she had multiple bosses, and that's hard. That's very hard because that takes away from
Yes.
the work, right? So one of the things that was important for me to foster was we needed to refunnel all requests and
Yes.
I'm hesitant to use the word demands, but all requests through the chairman. However, we wanted that open relationship with every board member, with the CEO, that they could have general conversations. If there's a question or you had an idea, that it's just that I'm a member as well, and we could have conversation, but it wasn't a request from every board member. It had to come through the chair. So again, I understand that dynamic of
Yes.
trying to make that relationship better between the president and the board, but then not overwhelming and taking all the time for the president and CEO answering questions or emails from every board member when they've got business to run. So,
Yes, and the president is our one employee. So
Absolutely.
he does report to all of us. And so we oversee the big picture. However, it's good to have those relationships. It just makes a difference. If you're free, as I said, have a suggestion, you just go up and have that conversation. Doesn't mean that you want the president to act on it or start a new program tomorrow. It's just having those conversations. Yes.
absolutely. Absolutely.
Anything else?
Nope.
Well, if you thank you for coming in, Mr. Voiles. We were glad to interview you, and just so that you will know the next step, we will not make a decision tonight.
Okay.
We will be voting at our April meeting, April 21st at our 5 p.m. meeting. So after that, then the board, the selected candidate will then join the board for our May meeting.
Okay.
And 2 days after that is the graduation.
It's going to be busy, yeah.
Yes. So
Well,
again,
I appreciate the time. I do
Thank you.
appreciate the opportunity to sit and to meet you folks and sit and have a conversation with you. I look forward to helping in any way. I'm going to be a supporter of the college regardless.
Thank
I'm
you.
in the community, and so, yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming out.
Yes. Good evening, and welcome to our third and final interview for a candidate for the Board of Trustees. Our third candidate is Mr. Dion Whitten, and we are getting ready to interview him. And I'll start with the first question here. What do you know about KCKCC?
So, KCKCC is a central force in the community. Its primary function is to educate the constituency, to provide opportunities for economic mobility, as well as opportunity. From a personal standpoint, I've had the opportunity to engage with the college as an educator, as a community member, and also as a student and an employee. Pre-COVID, I was director of the Kids on Campus Summer STEAM program. I would like to think that some of the policies, procedures, and processes that we put in place are still there, and we had an effect on that. As an educator, I worked in District 500 for a number of years, worked in the Jobs for America's graduate program, basically, helping students with barriers, discover post-secondary opportunities, and teaching them professional and life skills in order to help them propel them to whatever it is that they want to do. As a community member, I'm a native of Wyandotte County. I went to school in Kansas City, Kansas, went to Christ the King Elementary School, went to Sumner Academy. Some of my earliest and fondest memories are just my interaction with the college. My grandfather used to bring me up here. This is where I learned how to ride a bike. My mom used to come up here and walk the track every day. And my grandmother used to walk the trail. And so I've also had the opportunity to come back to KCK Community College and speak to students. Roger Suggs, I believe he's over the FBOE program, he was actually a mentor of mine probably 30-some years ago when I was 9 years old. He was a camp counselor at the YMCA, and he and I have maintained that relationship. So I like to come back periodically, speak to the students as he has requested. Worked with the Urban Outdoor program with the annual fishing derby, and really just grew up around the corner from the school. So for the most part, I understand the functionality of what the college does. I also have a vested and shared interest in being a community member and how I've interacted with it. And then also what I know about KCK is I know that in the present time, the college is being very intentional about positioning and purposing itself to prepare the students to actualize their potential and take advantage of the opportunities that belie Wyandotte County as a whole, or whatever it is that they want to pursue. Mm-hmm. And I had an earache, so if I'm loud, let me know if I'm talking too soft, because I have no. Okay, thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Why do you want to be on the Board of Trustees?
So being on the Board of Trustees is the perfect intersection of what I believe to be my purpose, my passion, and my calling. My purpose, passion, and calling is to help people. And I don't want to sound redundant, but my purpose and passion is to help people actualize whatever their potential is, and give them the tools to succeed forward. Being on the Board of Trustees allows me to have a generational impact on the community as a whole, and also allows me to do that in a systemic way, through advocacy, through presence, just through my voice and my experiences being being a student. I don't know if I mentioned that with my knowledge of KCK, but being a student, being a community member, I have a vested interest in the success of how Kansas City, Kansas Community College is, because ultimately the success of the community that I reside in, the success of Wyandotte County as a whole and the success of Kansas City, Kansas Community College is not mutually exclusive. I believe they're intertwined. And so because I have because I've resigned myself that this is who I am and this is what I have been entrusted to do in life, I just want to be a part of that and be a voice in that.
You said it was a perfect intersection of your purpose, passion, and
Calling.
Thank
Yes, sir. So just background information. I know you got my resume, but my wife and I, we own and operate a transitional home for young men aging out of foster care. We've done that for the last 4 years. She's a social worker by trade.
Yeah.
I've worked in education. I mentioned I worked with kids on campus. I've worked in the district. I still work in the district on the superintendent's community collaborative council, the social emotional learning committee. Just rechartered the PTSA at FL Schlegel. Direct the harvesters distribution for students and families that attend Schlegel in Washington, and so yeah, that's who I am, and this is an extension of that.
thank you.
Yep, I'm up. Oh, yeah, and just as a note, thank you for that, because I don't know that most people realize that once kids age out of the foster care system, there's virtually nothing in terms of resources for them, and they are the most underserved population of youth.
I appreciate that.
Thank you for doing that.
Absolutely, thank you.
So what do you believe in the role of Kansas City Community College within KCK in Wyandotte County? What can you speak more about the role together?
Yeah, so first, our role, I believe that KCK Community College at its heart is functions to be not just an educational institution within Kansas City, Kansas, but to be a heartbeat of the community. And what that looks like is preparing the students in sync with the opportunities that are happening within and around Kansas City, Kansas community. And it may not always be educational. It's kids on campus weren't college students. The fishing derby doesn't necessarily entail college students. So the role of the college as a whole is engagement, opportunity, access, and to give everyone in the community and the surrounding community the tools to operate in whatever endeavor that they want to do. And also they're also designed to meet people. I think Kansas City, Kansas Community College intentionally is designed to meet people where they are and help them go where they want to go. Now that could look different in different situations. That could be my grandfather who retired at the age of 50 from Bendix and decided he wanted to go back to school. That could be the young person that wants to be a nail technician, that just wants to go to cosmetology school. That could be the young person that aspires to be an Ivy League, go to an Ivy League law school, but doesn't necessarily have the grades or the confidence or or feel like they have the acumen to go there. That could be my aunt, who out of all of her siblings did not go immediately to a 4-year institution, but out of her siblings, she went to Kansas City, Kansas Community College and was the one that graduated from a 4-year institution in 4 years. And I think a lot of that is attributed to the skills and things that she learned here. So it's meeting the needs of the community, meeting the needs of the people in the community, and helping them propel them to wherever it is that they want to go.
Okay, thank you. So how do you think the college can support and be more of an asset to the community than it is currently?
I think the school has an opportunity. Can you repeat the question one more time for me? I want to make sure I answer.
Okay. How can the college support and be more of an asset to the community?
Well, I think that when you ask the question, the first thing my mind goes to is, as far as being an asset of the community, community anchor is the thing that constantly comes up in my mind, and also with that, I think of the state quarterfinal basketball game that we had a couple of weeks ago, where you had Washington High School playing Bonner High School, and there were literally cars packed around. There was nowhere to park, and so it was, to me, it was like it was probably frustrating for the people in terms of finding parking, but as a community member and someone that's grew up here, that's had so many ties here, it was great to see that level of vibrancy, and if I'm being honest, one thing that I've heard when I was a director of Kids on Campus is when people actually come into the school, they're really surprised at the programs and the offering and just how it just the breadth and scope of everything that's offered here. But at the same time, it sometimes, and this is no affront to anyone here, I think at some point the school started to feel to some people that it was a college located within the community instead of a community college. So all that to say, I think that the school has an opportunity and should be very intentional on creating partnerships and opportunities that bring the community into the institution, so that they see it not just as a thing that's here, but something that's here for everyone. Now, I can say personally, my mother and I, we were having a conversation. We were having a conversation today, and I can remember where the distinction, where there was a distinction for me as a kid, where there was a point, like I said, my grandfather taught me how to ride my bicycle here. I remember walking around the track with my mom and my grandmother, but then I remember when there was a point where it wasn't accessible, where they put a gate up and there was a code on it, and it felt like it felt like there was a clear line of demarcation between the school and the outer community. So I think in order to create that feeling of being an asset to the community, I think we really have to be intentional on our engagement with the community. Now, that doesn't necessarily entail developing internal programs, but I think there are enough programs, nonprofit organizations, there are people here that want to see KCK grow and thrive as a whole, and we have and the school has the resources to help propel that.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
You've done a great job of talking about the assets of the school, but let's talk about yourself a little bit. Okay. What assets and or skills do you have to bring to the board? Okay.
So I would say, I don't like talking about myself, but I would say I have experience in policy governance. I mean, if we're talking specifically to the role of being a board of trustee, I've had experience in being in policy governance since 2019. I've served on the board of directors of the Merck Co-op. I'm actively, I've served as treasurer in that role, and that was a role that I assumed because I stayed in the area and I was expressively interested in just the needs of the community and food access, but I still stayed within that role. The understanding of policy governance, I believe, also being an educator, working in the school. I've working with K through 12, working with kids in the foster care. In my current position, working at Dean of Students at the Kaufman School, and then I think also my own educational training and background has equipped me for a role. Right now, I got my undergrad is in philosophy, and a minor in business, and so the philosophy. I know a lot of people are like, what can you do with a degree in philosophy, but. Okay. So that philosophy. Well, I'm not saying you all don't know, but philosophy prepares you to think logically, think critically. I have a master's in conflict management and dispute resolution. That education and training has allowed me to look and view things from a point of neutrality, but also in a way that I don't lose the passion and purpose that goes along with that. And then also with the transitional home that my wife and I operate, there's a level of there's a level of fiscal responsibility and prudence that we have, while also making sure that the needs of the youth are never compromised. And I think at the core, I'm already through that. I'm already doing what you do as a board of trustee, which is making those moral, ethical, financial decisions that help the children that are within. Well, the community college, you have all ages, but helping the people that are within your purview do grow and develop into whatever it is that they're supposed to do. So this is just a natural progression into where I'm already at, and I believe I've had the education, the experience to be an asset or a voice on the board.
Thank you for that.
Yes, sir.
Now, this next question is long, so if you need me to repeat it, that's fine too.
Okay.
It said the Board of Trustees are expected to serve on 2 committees, attend monthly meetings, other college meetings, community meetings, ceremonies, and occasionally travel out of state for professional development. How would you fit these activities into your schedule?
I think the beauty of being a business owner, is that you have flexibility. You have flexibility of your schedule, and honestly, even just filling out the letter of interest and submitting my application or submitting my resume and doing all of that, I came in knowing that this would be a considerable time commitment. To truly be effective and transformative and influential and actually do the best of the job, I know that number one, there has to be a level of time commitment in that. Like there's no way that the school could function at the level that it does or that the level that it needs to or going to if we only meet once a month and we just kind of go through Robin's Rule of order as a formality. And so as the school grows, we have to have a level of agility that matches that. So, we have to be able to go to these meetings. We have to stay abreast of current events, of the things that are going on around to make sure that we're as effective as possible. So if I didn't feel I could do that, then I wouldn't have done it. I think it was a long question, but I think essentially what you're asking is how are you going to make time to do the things that you do the things that you need to do in order to do what needs to be done on the board and for the college?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Kansas City, Kansas Community College operates under a system of shared governance that includes the board, administration, faculty, staff, and students. What does this mean to you?
It means that the community college is a multi-tiered, multifunctional engine that values differing opinions and diversity, and that in order to be part of the Board of Trustees, you have to be able to get along with people, hear competing or conflicting viewpoints, be able to communicate with the people who are going to execute whatever decisions that we make at the ground level, and be amenable and pliable to different people's circumstances and situations. I think it would be a huge level of naivete to believe that 6 people that just the Board of Trustees has all the power and intelligence to make the absolute decision for the school. You need it in any organization. You need to be able to cross-reference and talk to everybody that interacts or intersects with all of the decisions. And that might not just be the people that you name. That could be the custodian. That could be the man that checked my stuff in. That could be anybody within this institution. So coming into that, I think I read a book, Good to Great, and they talk about storming, norming, conforming, and adjourning, and you have to have that storming phase. You have to have those competing thoughts, and viewpoints and perspectives that all go into that and make this beautiful gumbo that we call Kansas City, Kansas Community College.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
You're making me hungry. So what trade skills and/or education would you like to see offered at the college?
So I think the college has done a really good job at developing and staying abreast of the programming that's needed for the community. I think the one thing that I would say is I think the school already has, but I would like to see it kind of implemented to a greater degree, which is artificial intelligence. I know that we have classes in ChatGPT and in Copilot, but I really believe that the college should really go all in on artificial intelligence, because I feel like from my experience, it's applicable to all industries and sectors, and if we really don't prepare our students to engage with this intersection with this boom of technology that's coming, then we really do them a disservice. And artificial intelligence can go in any facet. It's not just a technology education. You know, I was having a conversation with someone the other day, and they were saying how a friend of theirs lost their job, and then they got knee deep into AI and learned about search engine optimization, started a business, and so I had a cleaning business and learned how to push that cleaning business to the top of the search engine for Google, and now they're doing fantastic. In my own business, you know, we use AI. We work in a person-centered business, but a lot of the business aspect, the evaluation, and some of the operational things has made our processes more efficient. And so I've just seen the application of AI in multi-sectors, and I think we need to go all in on that. I think something that we could also offer is with Kansas City being centrally located and us being a transportation hub, I think there's opportunity for commercial driver's license, for CDLs, for training for positions at Amazon and some of these bigger companies that are coming for some of our students, not just to go into just packing boxes, which is nothing wrong with that, because I worked at UPS for 8 years. That's how I helped pay for my school. But there are also other jobs within that, and I think that, and then I would say the other thing that I haven't necessarily seen is content creation. Classes on content creation, like social media. I know my first year, I wouldn't say my first year, but I remember a year where I asked students what they wanted to do, and I would say more than 50% had said something to the effect of being a content creator or influencer. And whether we know it or like it or not, content creation is an economic engine. I mean, you have 18 and 19-year-olds that are making millions of dollars, that they're literally monetizing this. They're changing their whole family's future by doing videos, and this is what the kids say they want to do. So I think at the core, our job isn't necessary. I mean, our job is to lead, guide, and instruct. But if this is what they're expressly saying that their interests are, and that I'm seeing that a majority of them, that at least that I have seen, even if they want to be a chef, they still want to, whatever industry you are, you have to have the ability to create content, to generate following, to generate money, whatever it is to your business, and you also need to have at least some baseline knowledge of artificial intelligence, either as an essential tool or an efficiency tool for whatever you want to do. And I can get long-winded, so throw up a number if I'm talking too long. Okay.
No.
All right.
I do want to make just an interesting comment there about the content creation. I have seen similar studies in like middle schools, where you're asking them, and more than 60% of the kids will say streaming, content creation, things like that. So
It's
very
the
interesting.
2026 response. I think when I was growing up, it was a fire. You know, I want to be a fireman, policeman, or a teacher. And then there was a point where it was I want to be a basketball player, football player. Now, if you ask any young person, it's I want to be a streamer, I want to be a TikToker, I want to be an influencer, and that's just what they want to do. And that's fine. You can do that, but the same way you can be a fireman, a policeman, a football player, a basketball player, but you have to go about that in a strategic, intelligent way, if that truly is what you want to do. So I think there's opportunity there. I don't know what that looks like, but I think there's opportunity there to educate our youth or whoever it is wants to do in a way that is beneficial to them. Even someone that has a mom and pop store that wants to know how to generate and drive traffic to their business, knowing how they can interact with the technology, because our kids are digital natives, but there are probably a number of people that have been in business and they just don't know it. So having the opportunity to have someone who doesn't, you know, my grandmother still has a flip phone. I try to give her a smartphone, and she wasn't having no parts of it, you know. But so for individuals that operate business like that, making something educationally friendly to where, you know, they can engage with it and not get left behind from a competition standpoint.
Okay. So you obviously know a lot about the college. What do you think KCKCC can do to better meet the needs of our students? You've talked about some of those things.
Okay,
but,
I think it's a couple of things I didn't necessarily talk about. The first thing I would say is creating intentional space for the students to make high-level decisions. I think that even in the breadth and scope of this meeting, we probably should have, if you all are making decisions on who is going to represent their interests and the interests of the college, I think that we should have some student leaders here that should tell, that should at least have some opinion, that should be able to espouse an opinion to you, to say whether you like me or whoever interviewed before me or not. So creating some of those intentional spaces. I think also investing in the pre-existing programs that you have that highlight student voice. I think what I've noticed, at least what I found common, is that a lot of times the things that people think aren't happening actually are happening. And what I mean by that is, you know, I remember when I used to work in the district, and people would say, this is a bad example, but someone would say, well, they need to teach financial literacy and they need to teach these things because the kids are not learning these in high school. And in my mind, I'm like, well, there's a whole class. There's a whole class that's there. Like, you don't know what you're talking about. Or you may hear this about the college. There may be people that have very strong opinions about what's happening and what's not happening here, but they actually are happening. But I think in order to kind of eliminate or curtail some of those critiques is that you invest in some of those programs that are here, like FBOE. I know that, you know, I wasn't in FBOE, I was pre-FBOE, but I know my relationship with the individual that runs that has transcended to where I still participate in that. I think also to an earlier point, being intentional about connecting with some of those ancillary or community organizations that already kind of service the needs of people within the demographic. You know, like I know, referencing my wife and I's transitional home. The thing about, you know, what we do is we try to, when a young person comes into our program, we try to connect them with the community organizations that are directly tied to what their needs are, because we know that internally we might not be able to do everything as efficiently as needs to be done, because sometimes it's like the old saying goes, a jack of all trades is a master of none. And if this organization over here is already doing or meeting specific needs of the students that we have, why not just partner with them or give them some of the resources that they might be lacking to take that to the next level? So all that to say, student voice, community connections and programs, and investing and highlighting the pre-existing programs that are here.
What is FBOE?
Fringe benefits of education.
Oh.
Yes.
Well, thank you, Mr. Whitten.
Yes, sir.
We're coming up here on the opportunity for you to question or comment to us. So if you have any questions or comments for the board, please feel free now to ask away.
Okay. I wrote a couple because I know that's always an interview question. You have questions for us. What I would say is, you asked me this. You didn't really ask me this, but I'm curious to know, what do you feel is the biggest gap, if there is a gap, in student success here at the college? I don't know if that's a question for you guys to answer.
I think sometimes, and we try to meet students where they are, but sometimes I think our students may fall through the gaps, and I'm not trying to, hear me employees, I'm not trying to criticize anyone, but I'm just answering it from having been here as an employee before, and what I think I see now is that sometimes they get lost, especially if they're first-generation students. They fall through the cracks. Well, we don't probably sometimes give them what they need to be successful. And as I said, we do a good job, but I think we could probably do a better job. And to me, I say that because if you look at the students who don't continue, and so they have to have a sense of belonging, and sometimes maybe we don't give them that as much sense of belonging so that they can get to where they need to.
Have the students have the students expressed what they felt was a gap in student success that they've seen from their peers?
If they have, I don't know that they've shared it with us, and that data may be here somewhere, but I don't know that in that form that it's been shared with the board.
I got you. And I just had a question of curiosity, because you mentioned it. Are there targeted interventions right now for first generation students, or is that kind of the demographic makeup of what we're seeing within the student population?
Well, I believe there are some. We recently hired a new manager of student
access.
Success and
Yes.
access. And he's been here about 7 months.
Okay.
But he has been coming and bringing items to the board meetings each month on what he's learning about where we are, where the gaps might be, where we might need to go. And I think probably by the end of the semester, he'll have pretty good handle on it. I think he already has fairly good handle on it, and we're excited to see what he's going to bring forward as his suggestions or his thoughts or his ideas.
Okay. Yeah. Is there room, or is it best practice or a practice for a board of trustee member to do classroom observation, function observation, not as a criticizing or critique, but just to kind of ingratiate themselves in the system? Because I think ideally, if I were to be selected as a trustee member, one with the knowledge that I have and as a community member and working here and all that good stuff, I still think what I would like to do is ingratiate myself within the community of KCK, because the way things were when I was worked the kids on campus, things might be vastly different. I mean, you got water bottles with the logo. I mean, just things happen, and so I'm not saying all that to say is I want to know what a trustee member limitation is on engagement within the framework of the college. Like, can you go to games? Can you go to classrooms? Can you go to these different meetings? And then
Well, we
what?
certainly get invited to a lot of activities.
Yeah.
In fact, we have an athletic pass, if you will, for any of the athletic contests here, and we get invited to a lot of different activities that are happening on campus all the time, really. I mean, almost on a weekly basis.
Yeah,
And so we make them as we can, as we have time, and that gives us an opportunity to interact, with students, some faculty, and so on and so forth. But in all of the training I've had as a trustee, that's not something that is recommended or suggested,
Right.
That trustees do. Now, you certainly have the background and education and so on and so forth, in that. So that is something that, as a board, we would need to work through with our
Right.
president, our active president, or when we get a regular president.
And hypothetically, I wouldn't want to be intrusive. I think the big thing is like, I know when I joined the board of the Merck, I just joined because, not just joined, but I wanted to represent the needs and interests of the community. But I really didn't have any background knowledge on cooperative economics. And so, what a co-op actually meant. Like, I knew about business, but didn't know the aspect of that. So the learning curve of that required the professional development, and then also immersing myself in that. And so I just want to make sure that if I'm selected to be a trustee, that I respect the limitations of what the immersion process could and should look like.
Yeah, and I think it's happening on multiple levels. So as Trustee Ash was saying, there are a lot of events, luncheons, awards, different education organizations, different ethnic group organizations that we were openly and regularly invited to. There's also at a higher level, or another level, I should say, things that we're invited to on an inclusive basis with other colleges and other people in the organization, like ACT or things of that nature, things having to do with the education environment and process as a whole. A third thing that I think is beginning, and Chairwoman Senton, I think you're leading the charge in this in terms of opening things up so that students, faculty, and staff have now a voice where we will schedule times for them to come and speak with whatever concerns or issues they may have as a way to have open lines of communication and transparency, so that everyone feels not only that they have a voice, but that they're being listened to, and things that would need to be addressed can there be known and worked on. So I think it's kind of a threefold process. But if there's a situation where I think any of us would want to go to, like the tech center, or take a look at what's going on in ceramics, or whatever the program may be, it's my understanding that we just need to talk and make arrangements for us to be able to do that. So I don't think that that's necessarily an
We've
issue.
set up tours before, for example,
Yeah.
like in nursing,
Exactly.
our simulation dummies, our
Cadavers.
patients,
Yeah.
and our patients, they're highly technical and advanced computers, but they're a patient. And so we have observed how they would deal with a crisis and all that. And we've been down to tech to see how some of that stuff happens down there. And so we have been around. And if anything, anybody's interested in seeing anything, you can suggest it, and, then we work with the staff to
Okay.
bring it about.
Yeah, in an ongoing basis, every board meeting, there are always presentations from all, department heads for things that are going on in specifics with their sphere of influence and what they're working with.
Okay.
And you might find that individual faculty, once they get to know you and what your expertise is, will invite you to come to their class and maybe observe or participate in something.
Yeah. It wouldn't be in the capacity to critique or coach anybody. It's literally just to understand the school, the culture as a whole. So I don't want anybody to think that I would come in and try to be intrusive or bulldog or make anyone feel uncomfortable. It's literally just to see the college, get to know everybody, and how that runs.
Well, I found that the faculty is very inviting in that way, and particularly the psychology department, when they knew that I was a psychologist, they invite me to be as involved as I want to be. But also other faculty members, I think, will come up and talk to me and share their experiences, and so you'll find that if you're open, they'll be open.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
And I'll just say, we respect, first and foremost, academic freedom. And so, regardless of what we want to do, if the faculty doesn't feel comfortable with it, we respect it.
Absolutely.
But if they are okay with, we wouldn't just go, we would make sure we've made some type of arrangement. But yes, as Trustee Andrew has said, yes, many of them are very open to that. In fact, they feel welcoming that we are interested, to know about it. So.
Yes, ma'am. I only got a couple more questions, if that's, I don't know where we're at on time.
Yeah, you're fine.
Okay. So you asked this of me, but I already kind of wrote this down. But I wanted to know how the board envisioned continuing to strengthen the connection between KCK and the community.
Yeah, I'll start with this one. I think this there's a multitude of approaches, and I know a lot of the trustees here have a real keen understanding that the community is very important to grab as well. Obviously, we do what we can with the students, and that's the focus. But as you've mentioned, you're right. This isn't a college in the community; it is a community college. From my perspective, I have been doing my best to continue to connect us with our other taxing entities. Our entities that are, like the unified government, because I believe that there are important conversations that can be had between those bodies and allowing us to have a unified approach, because in the end the focus, and mostly right now a lot of it is about taxes, right? I mean, that's been a heavy focus, and a unified approach with these entities can allow for the citizens of Wyandotte County to feel like they're not being bombarded by different areas, and it's a unified and an appropriate approach on how we take on a lot of the vast budgeting concerns with multiple entities. And I think to that effect also is, and as Trustee Sanchez gave credit to, I will as well, Chairwoman has done an incredible job of opening up to the community and to our school, being the faculty and staff being able to reach out and connect with us, but that extends to the community as well, and that's been something for transparency and something that I know has been the focus of her leadership. So
Thank you.
So one of the committees that we have is the Committee on Community Engagement, and I'm chair of that committee.
I want to be on that committee.
Okay. And we happen to have a meeting just prior to coming to this particular session from 3:30 to 4:30 this afternoon. And we're very concerned about, we're just getting started again because we're all new to the committee. And one of the things is we want to make sure we're coordinating with the public schools. And there are different levels that we can coordinate with the public schools, like meeting with the principals and sharing what we're doing at the college and getting feedback from them about what they'd like to see the college, how the
college engages with,
Yeah.
with the school district.
And we could also interact with counselors and parent-teachers associations. Then we also have community engagement. We have a person here who has gotten an award already for his community engagement. He might want to say something about that.
Yeah, we are getting started, and there is no shortage of ideas that we had talked about in terms of what we can do and not just improve on what's already being done, but how we can add things and bring things to the table. And so one of the things that I had gotten an award earlier, and as I was coming onto the board, and yeah, I'll say the name. The name is Revolución Educativa, and they actually service 5 states, not just Kansas and Missouri, but Arkansas, Nebraska, and so been talking with them about partnering, about being an outlet and helping their initiative, which is primarily focused on the Hispanic community and education development. And so there are things that we could do to help them do that, and at the same time, with the expertise that the college has in terms of career counseling, directing young adults in an appropriate or correct direction for where they want to go or where they believe they need to go, and bringing to the table the tools for them to be able to do that. And so that's just one example of a number of the things that we had talked about. We're also discussing really ramping. They do an incredible job with multimedia and with Chris Green and the media department and the interactive videos that they produce, and they've done quite a few, and their production level is very, very high, very, very professional. And they're on the website, they're online, but things are also going out aside from just the website into the social media space. So one of the things that we'd like to do, that we're looking at in terms of getting the word out more, so to speak, is to get even further engaged in all the different media sources that are out there, whether it's radio, talk radio, doing PSAs, newspapers, maybe even with editorial pages, and just getting the word out that we are here, because as some of us believe and have heard, that Kansas City Community College is Wyandotte County's biggest secret, and a lot of people don't really know the depth and the scope and the wealth of what is offered here, but that's changing very, very quickly, because there are some staff members and departments they are working so hard, so very hard at doing that, and it's working. It's paying off, and so those are the things that we're looking to up the ante, so to speak.
Okay. I had one last question. Feel free to shorten it. My last question was, what are the board's top 2 priorities going in 2026 and moving forward?
Yeah, I think the 2 biggest priorities, number 1, are going to be finding, searching, and hiring a new president, and kind of navigating that process. The second, and for me, almost equally as important too, is going to be the infrastructure and the it's the infrastructure and then the growth of the 2 buildings, particularly the new building down off of 7th as it opens up in the summer, and really ensuring that that is properly housed, maintained, and receiving the opportunities that's needed to be successful, while also not overlooking the needs of the main campus as well.
Okay.
We are at time now, 8:05, so we thank you, Mr. Whitten, for being here. We will not make a decision tonight. We will be voting at our April meeting, which will be at 5 p.m. at the Tech Center. And after the candidate is selected at that time, the first meeting will be, whomever is selected, will be the meeting in May. And then the graduation is 2 days after that. So,
Okay.
but thank you for being here, and we appreciate you taking the time to apply and interview with us.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. It was a pleasure. I enjoyed the process.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
No.
Madam Chair, would you entertain a motion to adjourn?
I didn't know if it was okay for him to sit there. But if there-
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, okay. If there are if there are no other comments or anything, yes, please.
So moved.
I second.
We have a motion and a second. Questions, comments? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries, and the meeting is adjourned at 8:06 p.m. Thank you.
Thank you.